get it rocking and rolling. Good morning, good afternoon to some. My name is Ray Walters. I'm with Epi Compliance. I'm also joined here by my co-host, Mr. Jose Delgado Jr. With Tano Consultants. Jose has 20 plus years of experience in healthcare consulting. He also owns and operates a mental telehealth clinic here in St. Augustine, Florida. Always happy to have him join us and provide some insight. And today's discussion is going to revolve around, and I'm going to share these articles with you guys here in just a moment. But Microsoft recently announced a phishing warning that was meant towards healthcare organizations. And in the article that I'm sharing with you, it's going to state that there was 35,000 users across 13,000 organizations that were affected by this recent phishing attack.
And
And I
this was
think
just over 2 days.
correct. And I'm putting these articles in chat for you. If you could, please put an emoji or just respond. I just want to make sure you guys are receiving. Sometimes, for whatever reason, it looks like I sent it to everybody. Sometimes it just sends to Jose. But just put a thumbs up or just respond. Just want to make sure everybody's got it. Looks like I got some thumbs ups coming in, so that's good. But yeah, these phishing attacks are getting, I'd say, more and more interesting. And I'm going to share
Yeah.
this before we get started. This is an episode that we did with. We have a IT partner, Blautech. We had Mr. Paul Blout, a CEO, join us and talk about some situations he's dealt with some clients. And again, I'll let you guys take a gander at the video. I think about minute 14 is when he talks about the real case scenario. But he had a client, long story short, um, they were hacked and it was pretty intuitive. They received a call from posing as the bank. And then I think it was the staff member or office manager that had answered. And anyways, long story short, they ended up sending some sort of text message afterwards. They were claiming that a check wasn't processed. Sent some sort of text message over. Person entered their credentials, and it ended up being, I think it was about $150,000 incident. I think is
Jesus.
it
Oh
was
yeah, yeah, yeah,
very
yeah, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Mm.
again, it just goes to show that got to be on your P's and Q's. And um, this article that I'm sharing, or the second one I'm sharing, that's from Microsoft directly. It kind of it explains this phishing campaign pretty in detail. There's some screenshots, but this one,
Yeah, the Microsoft one really gets really technical with it, Ray.
correct,
So, I mean, we
correct.
can touch on some of that stuff, but yeah, it's definitely if you're not high techie, it's gonna be a problem. Because you're gonna be like, I don't understand what half these words mean, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the premise behind this one. This one was coming across as a notice of code of conduct review. And then it would have you, like I said, that article kind of gives you the step-by-step screenshot of what it looks like, but it comes across as a code of conduct review, and then you enter in, it's like one of those captchas. You enter your information, and you just go down the rabbit hole, and then it's got you signing a document. Um,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
got it.
So if I can, Ray, let me
Yeah,
take a step back, just in case you
sure.
guys haven't seen any of you have not seen our prior videos on phishing and what phishing is. Uh, it's just for a quick 10,000 foot view. It's basically phishing is when someone is going to be posing as a trusted organization or a trusted vendor of yours to gain access to sensitive information so they can either resell it or use it to do whatever they want with it, right? So, and they do this in a variety of formats, and Ray is just talking about one of them. The one that Ray is talking about, though, I was looking at it. They even had, and there's a couple tips and tricks that I can give you that are low techie, so you don't have to. You don't have to be completely aware of all the tech stuff and, look up the coding on the website or the coding on the email to see if there's anything in there. There's some easy ways to check that out. But that one did have a checkbox, you checking and agreeing to their terms and conditions, right?
Right.
So a lot of this stuff, when we look at it, as high tech as we get, on every time we go high tech, the opponent is going to go low tech. Every time we go low tech, the opponent is going to go high tech, right? So what we need to do is we need to constantly be training our team. The reality of the matter is we need to train our team, including the providers. And I know some of you are probably snickering, but everybody needs to be trained. And there's simple things that we can do on the admin side to help us do everything, right? So, and by do everything, I mean be more secure. We're never going to be perfect. And if you think you're perfect, awesome. I've got a bridge to sell you. Okay. There's no way to be perfect. We seek perfection, but the only way to completely protect our business, our information, our anything is to never be able to access it, right? So we're always going to be balancing that seesaw. So we're preventing this. One of the things that we can do is train our teams. Hey, somebody across the street just got hacked and ransomware. How did they get hacked and ransomware? A lot of times these phishing, how can I put this? Instances, they're not targeted. It's a freaking dragnet. They're just throwing a bunch of bait out to see what gets hooked, right?
Yeah.
So what happens
It's
is
every
this.
industry. It's just healthcare has
Every
been the
industry
most
gets hit with this. They're
most
just throwing
affected
things out
as of
there.
recent. Yeah.
So what you want to do is, one, make sure that your team knows not to check their personal email at work on a work device. Do not check personal stuff on company devices at all. That's social media, that's banking, that's emails, none of it. Right? And the way that we can limit it on the admin side is calling our IT and saying, hey, just don't even allow our browsers to access any of this stuff. And they can block it. They can absolutely block just straight up URLs. They're just not going to happen. They can block Amazon. They can block the banking ones, the social media ones. Whatever you need, your IT company can do it. You can probably do it too. I mean to say that you can probably do this as well. They can just do it faster, unless you're a computer science major or something like that, and IT is what you do. Then you know how to do it quickly. But if you're an admin, you've got some other things that you can be doing. So just sending off a quick text or email to your IT guy and being like, hey, I want all the work devices to not be able to access. Boom. And then there you go. Keep on running and gunning, right? Because this way you don't even just train the team, they should know better. Why did you do it? Now we can punish them, right? But they're like our children. So we got to make sure that when possible, we can childproof our devices. Because whether you punish them or not, you're still going to have to deal with the mess. So I just rather not deal with the mess. Does that? Yeah. Hopefully, you guys are kind of getting that one. Ray, what else did you want to go into about this
I
one?
was gonna say, just to add to your point, I think as far as, training staff members, um, you want to make sure that they're comfortable with reporting this type of stuff, right? If somebody clicks a wrong link or um, see something suspicious, to report it, and
Speed is massively important,
absolutely, absolutely.
especially if the phishing, because if the phishing leads to ransom and shut down and lock out of your system, you've got problems, right? So your problems just start stacking at that point. So it's really about training. It's really about reducing the ability for anybody to do any of this stuff, right? So, again, providers, families, because if you're a provider owner and the kid comes over to the office after school and is using one of the devices on the network, you know what I mean? Like you can you can see how this is a problem, hopefully, right? So, one of the other things that we need to be careful of with this phishing is that they're getting more sophisticated. How are they getting more sophisticated? Because the emails are actually looking like they're from the bank. They're looking like they're from Amazon. They're looking like they're from Apple. So then when you click that link, it's not too late, but you need to shut it out fast.
Absolutely. I think
Right.
this
So
this,
like
this particular
let me
one had some sort of HIPAA trust badge or something from a reputable company that they were advertising.
there was
Um,
one I thought I just had one because it was about an Apple and I don't have anything Apple. So
it
I
says
knew it was
encryption
crap then.
verified by Paulbox, which apparently is some sort of HIPAA trusted um, email encryption.
Ray,
So
you know I hate the term HIPAA trusted.
yeah, right. But that kind of gives, like I said, it gives the persona that this is legit, when it's really not.
Yeah, I mean, like it just go through if you want, if you're curious to see what are the types of things that are automatically getting blocked by every email server, just go through your junk mail and you'll see stuff that just doesn't even map up right. I magically couldn't find one. I was kind of surprised because I thought I saw one last week about Apple. Just being like, oh, there's this charge on your Apple account. I was like, well, I don't have an Apple account. So bump that, right? I have seen some that do look legit, and then when you go to the website, they also look a little bit legit. And the problem with that is that you need to take a look at everything. You need to take a look at the URL. You need to take a look at the email. You need to if this is someone calling about a business, if you're an administrator, right, or an owner, and you're getting an email about this and it's on your company email, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you build a relationship with your local branch, your local bank branch, because then you can do a couple of different things, right? One, I can just call Bobby, be like, hey, Bobby, do you know if you guys sent me this email? Do you know why you guys sent me this email? He can check on his end.
Yep.
One, then we're not interacting with the message, right? We're confirming that our everything is safe without us looking into it because we're calling someone that we trust or going to go see them personally, whatever you want to do, right? Depending on how close that branch is. Two, when this occurs, you're also informing the bank because they also have rules that they need to follow. And if someone is impersonating them, they need to let everybody know. And so there's if you look, I use like three different banks with all the businesses, and all three banks lately have had like let me pull one up real quick. Hold on. All of them have like a notification saying, "Hey, heads up, there's been high, what was the was it
This is
was
one that's
this
coming through to you personally.
yeah. Yeah, so when I Truist doesn't have it up right now. I think they do it when I log in, but I just didn't want to log in right now. I know Valley Bank had one saying, "Hey, there's people impersonating our login, so make sure that you double check everything before you log in."
Uh,
One thing I will do as well is if it is a vendor that I use, I won't click the link in the email. I'll open another window, go to the vendor that way, and then go that route.
that's
Because if
smart.
not, what ends up happening is I end up just getting into trouble that way. Like I could potentially make things worse, and I don't want to do that. Yeah, I don't know.
I'd say some strange ones that I've gotten in the past personally is like you'll get random calendar invites and it'll say something on the lines of Microsoft account billing due or just like random little things like that. Um,
Yeah.
and then
Oh
obviously
yeah.
if you click on the calendar, you'll see a link that again it'll take you through the cycle of yeah.
Absolutely. So like I said, there's three. If we were to dumb this down as small as possible into actionable items, One, we talked to IT about reducing the ability for people to access these kinds of websites on company devices. If they do it on their personal device because it's personal, I can't really help you, right? Like there's only so much that I can do. If this is the second thing is training the team. Because if there's one thing that I know working in compliance and consulting is that the human element is amazingly clever. I can put all of the rules in the world I want. It is absolutely impressive to see how people get around the rule. So, oh, hey, I don't want anybody getting onto, and no personal devices on the company Wi-Fi. Perfect. Usually that lasts about 90 days.
Yeah.
Usually. And the reason is because we have to add a new person, so they need the Wi-Fi password. And IT gives it to them, they write it down, and now all of a sudden that password moves around everyone. So now the clean room that we had is now no longer clean. Like that's the easiest one that I've seen. It's kind of impressive, you know. If you don't have IT as a service for your practice, you are literally playing the lottery and hoping you don't lose. Because it's not a matter of if any of these things happen, it's when. And having an IT company, even doing something as simple as your basic MSO stuff, is going to be massively helpful. You don't know how helpful it is until it happens. What's the popular one I hear? It's like car insurance. You don't know how much you need the bodily injury until you have a bodily injury in an accident. So just be aware that this is happening all the time. And it's happening to everybody. They're doing the captchas, they're doing the emails, they're doing the phone call follow-ups. Um, Anytime someone can't pronounce my name, I know for a fact, hey, you're out of here.
The
It's
phone
a
call
pretty
one
popular
is,
name.
is crazy to me because, or I don't know about you, but these days, I mean, the phones are getting better at flagging things as spam. So it's
Yes.
interesting how,
Yes. Now I
um,
will say too,
not all of
there's
them,
there's a
obviously, but
there's a flip side to this, right? Because I've also seen us as consultants that we've had clients get mad at us. And why is this? Because they're saying, hey, well, you didn't do your job. And I'm like, well, wait a minute. I sent you the email 3 weeks ago. I'm waiting for you to respond. And what happens is what? The email server settings are so tight and restrictive that they don't allow anything to go through. Right. So there's definitely a seesaw that we got to play with. You got to figure out if you're more comfortable being more restrictive or if you're more comfortable being more lax. That's a personal choice. I'm not gonna recommend one thing or the other. Each one has its pros, each one has its cons. Either way, I would make sure that any vendors you use that you can communicate with and that you have established protocols for how you communicate so that way when they do something different, there's a it throws up a yellow flag. So if I have let's say my
so
credit
what
card
you're saying
process.
is business associates should be included in phishing and cyber security planning.
I mean, why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
I mean, if they're already messing with banks, they're already messing and pretending that they're credit card companies, they're already messing around saying that they're Amazon or Apple or whatever. I mean, if they're targeting healthcare, perhaps they're choosing, hey, it's Epic, the EHR company, right?
Yeah.
Maybe they're doing a phishing scheme with that one. That's a whole bag of problems because there's so many people using Epic right now, thanks to the freeing hospitals, which I'm not going to touch that one right now. They're not a monopoly, but they're doing monopolistic things. So we're not going to touch it right now. But yeah, so I mean, what is it? There was all these different types of phishing as well. There's the smishing, the text message one, right?
Yeah, Paul actually explains the different types very well in that
Yeah.
video I put across. But yeah,
Yeah,
there is.
smishing and vishing and then spear phishing.
Yep.
Um, I'm just like, this is yeah, we're getting a little bit crazy with all these this fishing analogy. We're getting really,
Some
really in depth here.
very niche.
So yeah, right. So the difference is the method, right? So the smishing is text messages, the phishing is voice or VoIP, you know. And then the spear phishing is apparently a highly targeted attack customized to a certain individual or organization. So, one thing I've done recently, because, for example, if you're working with your EHR company on a project, and you're aware that the EHR company may be a little bit one of the larger ones, um, you may want to play back and forth because, oh yeah, great, let's verify that you're an authorized user. I love this. Let's verify that you're an authorized user. Well, you called me, Bobby. What do you mean? I give you everything and then you don't give me, what am I supposed to get here? Like, can you tell me why we're calling? Why you're you know what I mean? Like, do we have an appointment on because we're working on a project or there's an open ticket or anything like that? Like, give me something to know that you are who you are as well, not just confirming that I am who I am. Because I mean, it seems as though it seems to me that sometimes they're doing all of these confirmations and I don't know why they need to check the information so much. Right? Like, hey, you asked me a question. Perfect. Here's the answer. Why are you asking me 10 more questions? Your automated system already asked me for the account number 3 times. I'm already calling you. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of
It's intentional.
so for me, it's
If you want.
I like to put that buck on them now a little bit just to have a little bit of fun. uh, so yeah. If you know what I'm talking about, you know. If you don't, be thankful that you don't have to make those phone calls. They waste 15
Absolutely.
minutes and you've done nothing. Just on the verifications. So that's I mean this is a relatively easy and short topic if you act quickly. If you don't act quickly, the ramifications are wild. It can get real wild real fast. You can
The
go
result.
from this is
The
just a
re
simple theft and they rob your company or you personally of thousands of dollars. This can be them having access to your EHR, your email server, which you don't want that. I don't care how clean you are. There are certain emails that get that people that end up getting run around internally or externally that, at the very least, they're embarrassing. At the worst, they could be damaging to the company. So, we want to be careful with that. Multi-factor authentication. Everybody loves to use this word now. But Ray, what are your thoughts on multi-factor?
well, that's it's actually a question I had in the chamber for you towards the end, but
Ha!
does that
Gotcha.
help? I mean, that helps with fishing, right? But I guess the thing is, some of these fishing attempts are kind of set up kind of like that, right?
Yeah, there's
It's almost like
the
you
one that
think
you
you're
sent from Microsoft literally tees you up for that.
correct, correct. So
So,
I thought that was
um,
interesting because
again, for me, there's always a way to be clever, right? So for me, multi-factor is very effective for certain things. For other things, I think organizations are doing it for more of the perception of security than the actual security.
it's a good way to put it.
You know what I mean? Um, like if you go to a bank that's in a very busy area, hey, why do you have really thick glass? And then same company, bank down the road, they got nothing. Everybody's wide open. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm talking about pre and post COVID. Okay, so this isn't like a COVID adjustment so they could open. I'm talking, hey, this glass looks like it could take a howitzer. they've never been attempted to be robbed. But it's
I was
the
gonna say
perception of
they
security.
could have it could be the perception of, they got the thick
Yeah.
glass, they got the thick glass, but inside there's their tech is low.
Yeah,
versus
exactly. Exactly,
versus the
right? So,
bank
or
with
it's
the
very superficial.
right,
It's very
right.
superficial, right? So, I'm of I'm a I can see how multi-factor can be useful, but I can see how different ways that multi-factor is set up, that if you have one way, you're already in. Like the phishing example that Microsoft just put up, that you were reading the article and you put it up in the chat. They set you up for the multi-factor. Hey, I'm going
Exactly.
to send a confirmation email to make sure that this is you. Give me that number. Walks you through it.
And I just feel
There
like
has
any
to be
re
other ways to do that multi-factor, right? Like, so for example, like with your phone or with your bank, I don't know about you guys, but my banks, they hate when I log on from a different device than I normally do. So when I do that, they always send an email to my safety email, right? And so, for example, I'm contemplating finding an email or starting an email that is just for these MFA stuff. So all my backup stuff goes to this one email. So when I multi-factor, it's not attached to my business email. It's not attached to my personal email. It's not attached to my practice email. It's separate and apart as the
well, it's
backup
separate, but
email.
it's essentially everything is going to that email, which
But
makes it
it's
easy.
only the multi-factor email,
Right, right, right.
right? So
Makes it easy.
and yeah, and some of these systems are going to allow me to do that. Some of them will be like, no, 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 this is a different email than they have on file as you as the client. Why are you doing that? And then I'll have to go through and explain everything. You know, and for every rule and trick, there is a workaround. It's just a matter of what do we know the pros? Do we know the cons? And how can we protect from those cons? Right? Like we can't just be like, this is the policy and we're done. Bye. Done.
Right.
No, we've got to go and make sure that we have the policy, we have the procedure, and we know if there is a vulnerability, where that vulnerability is. So, I mean, let's say, for example, I have a very stubborn provider and they refuse to do stuff as much as possible on the computer because they're old school, because they hate computers, because they're hyper paranoid, whatever. I don't care. You're picturing somebody in your mind right now, right?
Yeah.
So um this person is sorry, I was getting a delivery in. So when it comes to this person is going to go and we're going to have to babysit them a little bit and say, hey, look, okay, let me help you out with this. Now, if, for example, I have the provider and their favorite nurse or their favorite MA or their administrator, who's their work wife, is going to sit here and have to be the multi factor email, we're kind of defeating the purpose. I understand the expediency of it, but we need to understand that you're creating the breach to
Yeah.
get the job done,
Yeah. You
right?
need to
Like
be the only
it's,
person
you
in this
know,
room.
you know,
Yeah.
um, I was just using, if you have Athena, you know this problem, right? I was just setting up something so I can move money from Athena, which uses US Bank, to our business account. Well, the problem is that when we set this up as two people on the account that could access it, our office manager, and myself. Well, the problem is that in order to make any modifications now, she has to approve it if I change anything on me. I have to approve it if she changes anything on her. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it creates a multi factor nightmare now. Then now I got to decide on the back end, do I want to go and keep things the way they are, knowing that I can't, as an owner of the practice and the administrator, can't make all of the changes unilaterally, although that means that she can't either, right? Pro and con. Or do I just change it towards just me? What does she need the access for? Is there anything there that she would need? Well, you know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
you start running through the rabbit hole, and then you decide at the end, is the juice worth the squeeze? All right, cool. And then you have to find a way. If you say yes, the juice is worth the squeeze, what are the checks and balances that I'm going to put into place to make sure that there's no manipulation that is
Need a fail
untoward?
safe.
Yeah, I got to keep everybody safe, right? Also another one as well. Anybody that works from home on a home device. Again, your providers are notorious for this because they're like, bought this computer with company money. I just work from home sometimes to finish up the notes. Perfect. Is that device secure? Who's protecting that device? You know what I mean? So we start really going down this list. So if anybody's got any questions, throw them in the chat. We've been kind of going through all these different scenarios. Hopefully this is as simple as it gets and as complex as it gets, because it's wild. It's absolutely wild.
If anybody has any questions, feel free, or if you have any scenarios that you want to share, let us know.
Culpability on something like this is wild, right? Because technically this falls under the alphabet agencies of FBI, depending on what information is accessed, Homeland, and the Cybersecurity Agency, right? CISA.
Right.
So you have a couple alphabet agencies that are there that you can utilize when an event occurs. We just want to use them as little as possible.
These aren't sophisticated phishing scams. It's not generally by one person. It's a group, right? It's all these crazy.
I mean,
what was the one
net?
that Paul Blauscher? I think they're like Black Cat or something. You know?
Yeah. Like all these hacking co-ops, they can do it, but I mean, there's nothing to stop somebody from creating it on their own.
It's very true. Very true.
Especially considering the fact that now you can have AI that writes most of the code for you. So if you know what you're looking for, you know what you're setting up, you can put all this together, which then puts in a whole nother aspect of, should there be some laws in regards to what AIs can and cannot do? I'm not going to touch that one. That's a morality question to me.
That's a good point.
But what are you going to do? I mean, I can tell you right now, I know web programmers, I know software engineers, I know I don't know of anybody that doesn't use AI in some way, shape, or form. Let me put it that way. I know website guys that create websites using AI.
Just organizes the code easier than having
people are forgetting how to program, though.
Yeah.
So it becomes a whole nother problem, because now you can hide stuff. If you have a programmer, you can hide stuff in base format, one line of code, all of a sudden, bam. If you're of a certain age, you'll probably remember hearing this email, but there was a programmer in the late 90s, early 2000s, and he wrote a very simple program. Ray, you're going to love this. And what he would do is that he realized that in every banking transaction, they weren't always clean. So there would be fractions of a penny that would just get dropped into the ether. And so what he did was that he set up an account. And so all those fractions would go into that one account.
That's crazy. How much
billions of dollars. Billions of dollars.
When was this? To look this one up.
I want to say, like I said, like late 90s, early 2000s. Like I remember this happening and me being like,
freaking genius.
A
fraction
that
of a penny.
Is some cleverness right there. And the problem is, right? Is it theft? Yeah. By the literal sense, it is theft. However, if I go to every single transaction and say, do you want this 0.3 of a penny? I don't even know how to give you this 0.3 of a penny.
Yeah, that's wow. Penny,
So, I
is
mean,
that like
again,
penny thief? Maybe that will pop up.
maybe, I don't know. I'll
Penny
have to look
thief.
it up. Maybe
That's crazy.
maybe one of our viewers from, from your
It was
that remember the
1990.
analog days
1990.
can remember I can have a better memory with that than me.
Is it from the is did it happen in 1990?
I want to say I was in the 90s. I was young, but I
Check
was old
this.
enough to realize the magnitude of the situation.
That might be it. That might be it. There was a guy in Malaysia
I think so.
and he was a banker.
Yeah, yeah, it was like a banking programmer. Like the guy
He worked
worked in the
this
industry.
this has to be it. This has to be it. He
It's like the
stole exactly
craziest
1 cent
loophole I've
from
ever
each.
heard.
He stole
Huh?
exactly 1 cent from each account daily.
That's wild.
Man,
You're not going to notice 1 cent. Are you kidding me? Do you know how many people don't realize random charges from when your card gets stolen until it's like $400?
it's wild.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, anyways, so that's what we've got. Doesn't look like we've got any questions though, right, Ray?
I don't see any coming in. Um, it's not too late if you guys have any questions. It doesn't necessarily have to be about this. Maybe something else going on.
No, we're gonna
Please,
shift to
please,
our
please.
editor, producer, director.
Let's talk a
He's
little
got,
bit. Let's talk a little.
housekeeping.
Yeah, yeah. I'll run through it. I just put a link across to everybody. And again, for those that are joining us for the first time, we used to offer. So this link that I just shared, it's to our certified HIPAA security officer training course. This is a program that was created by our CEO, Dr. Jose Delgado, who, by the way, if you haven't seen him on any of our episodes, 30 plus years of healthcare experience, served in the Air Force, used to be a Medicare auditor. I like to say he's the brainchild behind Epi Compliance, more than less than the founder as well. But he's created this program. We used to do this in person, and we're now offering it online. But if you're and Jose, you can speak to this as well. But if you're
Yep.
a leader in healthcare, whether you're a practice owner, an office manager, compliance officer, this course really, really, really gives you more of a deeper dive into HIPAA privacy and HIPAA security. Really dives into the administrative, physical, technical safeguards. And obviously, the goal is to help you prepare to conduct your own HIPAA security risk assessments for your practice. Again, we are offering this course online now, and it's a cool opportunity. It's all online, which consists of 10 courses and quizzes to follow. If you pass, um, you'll get the CHSO certification. I believe it's a 3-year certification, Jose, if not
Yeah.
mistaken. If you do not pass that attempt, the alternative is Jose would conduct a virtual boot camp, which again, you would essentially run through things with Jose. He would present it, and then at the end, you would essentially retake the exam, and obviously in hopes to pass the second occasion, which you should after after
If I
listening to
can, Ray,
Jose.
let me
Yeah,
give
go
a little
ahead.
bit more on this, right?
Go
So
ahead.
if you're an administrator right now, you wear a bunch of different hats. You need to understand what some of those hats actually mean. It's not just, hey, you babysit the providers. Hey, you babysit the staff. Hey, you babysit the patients. It's, hey, there are actual ramifications to taking on this role. Do you understand what that
Absolutely.
means? Do you understand how you're supposed to hold your vendors, your IT accountable, right? Your employees, do you know how to hold them accountable? Do you know what to hold them accountable for? You know what I mean? So having an understanding of HIPAA security is going to thoroughly improve your comfort with your management of style, right? On top of that, we don't like to do the boot camps with more than 15 people. So as we go through the 10 different modules, I will go and say, hey, this requirement also falls under this requirement over here because the federal government loves to make you repeat yourself. right? So we go and hey, this one, hey, that one, hey, everybody's got limited resources. So if you're smaller, you may want to do this item this way. If you're medium sized, you may want to do this item this way. And if you're large, you're screwed. Just do it the way the federal government told you to do it. Right. So we want to go and make sure that we can really cater because when you make a mistake or when something occurs, you want to be able to give the defense of, hey, I knew that this was a rule. This is how we were trying to do it. And these are the resourcing mitigating factors because not all of us are the same size to have access to the same resources and all of that fun stuff. That gives consultants and lawyers a very, very high leg up to be able to go and mitigate these fines and these penalties that can occur if there was, for example, a breach that occurred on your side of things. So, one of the other ways to do that also is by having a company like Epi Compliance that can help you manage your basic compliance needs, like having policies, procedures, and training for OSHA, OIG, HIPAA privacy, and HIPAA security. Ray can talk to more about that. If you have any questions about that, please feel free to reach out to Ray. He can set up a quick demo of the system for you guys. Yes, that is a shameless plug. It is the Epi Compliance podcast. Sometimes we talk about the company.
It is the foundation here.
Yeah. So, So if anybody's got any questions, please let us know. Next week, Ray is going to be out of town, but I'm going to be interviewing a local IT company. His name is Jose as well. So it'll be the Jose pod episode. We'll be talking about, Ray didn't know this ahead of time, but we're going to be talking about how to do a penetration test in your office, what that means, also how to do the network mapping that's part of HIPAA 2026. So it'll be fun.
And
Any other questions,
you're
concerns?
you're interviewing an IT person for this, correct?
Yes. He's the owner of Team Logic IT.
Awesome. More IT, more IT.
I mean,
Yes, I love it.
so different IT companies do different things, right? And they specialize in different things. And I want everybody to understand that just because you have IT doesn't mean that they do IT. What aspect of IT? It's just like, hey, I have a car. Cool. What kind of a car? Because that tells you what you can and cannot do. And you telling me what kind of car, right? Like, hey, I'm a break fix kind of a guy. Okay, cool. I'm a hardware kind of guy. We wire buildings and offices and houses. Okay, that's different than someone who does programming, network security. That's different than someone who manages a server farm. Like we can really go into all of this different. That's different than website programming. That can be IT.
Right.
All of that fun stuff. Managing CRMs, developing CRMs. I can keep going down the list. Hopefully, everybody understands what I'm saying now. So, cool.
Cool. Other than that, if anybody has any topics you'd like us to discuss in the near future, please feel free to share those in chat. We love to cover them. Is Meredith in here today? We did get a suggestion from I don't see her. She registered, but I guess maybe something popped up, but she suggested a topic last session. So again, we appreciate any suggestions. Always look to fill those in, whether it's something going on at your practice or maybe something that you just want to learn more about. Let us know. We'll be happy to cover it. Other than that, I think that's pretty much it. I am just going to put one last thing across. If you aren't subscribed already, this is our YouTube channel. These episodes, this is the first place that these episodes get placed to. This episode will go up tomorrow. So if you have any coworkers and such that may have missed this session, you want to share the link to them, just look out for an email tomorrow. I will reply or I will have the replay link in there so that you can share it. We're also on Spotify podcast as well. I'm going to share that link across. I always like to say, hey, if you're driving, you got a long trip and you want to catch up or just want something to listen to, got all of our episodes there as well. Other than that, I appreciate everybody taking the time to join us today. I hope that you found the session valuable. And Jose, I know everybody's in good hands next week. I'm going to enjoy
Yeah.
my time in
I think I'm
Tennessee.
high tech and techy enough to be able to handle it.
I think so too. Um, but I look forward to getting away for a week in Tennessee, visiting my grandfather. But as I mentioned, I know everybody will be in good hands with Jose. Um, Other than that, we'll see you guys next week. Just look out for the email with the registration link for next week's event. Other than
Absolutely.
that, Jose,
Thanks, guys.
appreciate your time, and we'll see everybody next week.
Yep, yep. Have a good one.
Take care.
Bye.